a daily life English podcast. Have you ever had a day where you did almost everything you were supposed to do, but somehow, at the end of the day, you still felt exhausted? You woke up, you checked your phone, you went to work or school, you answered messages, you ate something quickly, you handled a few problems. Maybe you talked to people, answered emails, paid bills, cleaned your room, cooked dinner. And finally, you got into bed. But instead of feeling peaceful, your mind was still running. Thinking about tomorrow, thinking about money, thinking about work, thinking about relationships, thinking about things you said 5 years ago. And suddenly you realize, I'm tired, but I don't even know what I'm tired from.
That feeling is actually becoming a normal part of modern life. We live in a world where almost everything is available instantly. Food can arrive at your door. Messages arrive in seconds. Entertainment never ends. News is always available. And our phones are constantly asking for our attention. But somehow, with all this convenience, life can still feel incredibly exhausting.
Have you ever had a day where you did almost everything you were supposed to do, but somehow, at the end of the day, you still felt exhausted? You woke up, you checked your phone, you went to work or school, you answered messages, you ate something quickly, you handled a few problems. Maybe you talked to people, answered emails, paid bills, cleaned your room, cooked dinner. And finally, you got into bed. But instead of feeling peaceful, your mind was still running. Thinking about tomorrow, thinking about money, thinking about work, thinking about relationships, thinking about things you said 5 years ago. And suddenly you realize, I'm tired, but I don't even know what I'm tired from.
Exactly. And then we wonder why we're stressed. Our bodies are still in bed, but our minds are already at work. We're thinking about what happened yesterday, what's happening today, and what might happen tomorrow. That's a lot for one brain to carry.
And here's something interesting. Sometimes we don't need a vacation. Sometimes we just need a break from constantly thinking. Because there is a difference between physical tiredness and mental tiredness. If you work out for 2 hours, your body gets tired. You rest, eat, sleep, and eventually, you recover. But mental exhaustion can be different. You can spend the entire day sitting at a desk and still feel completely drained. Why? Because your brain never stopped working.
And social media makes this even harder. Because when you open your phone, you're not just looking at pictures. You're comparing your life with hundreds of other people's lives. Someone is traveling. Someone bought a new house. Someone got married. Someone started a successful business. Someone is making more money. Someone looks happier. And without realizing it, you start asking yourself, why isn't my life like that?
But here's the truth. You're comparing your ordinary Tuesday to someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their bad mornings. You don't see their arguments. You don't see their financial problems. You don't see their anxiety. You don't see them lying awake at 2 in the morning wondering if they're doing enough. You only see what they choose to show you. And that's why comparison can be so dangerous.
Sometimes the happiest thing you can do is stop checking what everyone else is doing. Just focus on your own day, your own goals, your own family, your own progress, because your life doesn't have to look impressive on a screen to be meaningful.
Let's talk about another reason everyday life feels exhausting. We are always trying to be productive. There's this idea that every minute of the day has to be useful. Wake up early. Exercise, read books, work, learn a new skill, build a business, make money, cook healthy food, spend time with family, stay connected with friends, and somehow, get 8 hours of sleep.
It's almost impossible, and sometimes we forget that humans aren't machines. You don't have to improve yourself every single second. You don't have to turn every hobby into a business. You don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning to prove that you're successful. And you don't have to feel guilty for resting. Rest isn't laziness. Rest is part of life.
Think about your childhood for a moment. There were probably days when you spent hours doing absolutely nothing. Maybe you played outside. Maybe you watched cartoons. Maybe you sat around talking with friends. Maybe you just stared out the window. And you didn't feel guilty about it. You weren't thinking, I should be building my personal brand right now. You were just living.
That's something adults often forget. Not every moment needs to have a purpose. Sometimes a quiet cup of coffee is enough. Sometimes a walk around your neighborhood is enough. Sometimes sitting on the couch with someone you love is enough. Life isn't only about achievements. Life is also about experiences.
You don't always need more information. Sometimes you need less. Less noise, less scrolling, less comparison, less pressure, less trying to control everything. And more presence, more conversations, more sleep, more fresh air, more moments where you don't have to perform for anyone.
Actually, sometimes simple is exactly what we need. Because when life becomes complicated, we often try to solve it with even more complicated solutions. We're stressed, so we download another productivity app. We're tired, so we watch another motivational video. We're overwhelmed, so we create another schedule. But sometimes the answer is much simpler. Slow down.
Exactly. Maybe you're not behind. Maybe you're simply on a different path. And sometimes the season of life you're in isn't supposed to be permanent. A difficult year doesn't mean you have a difficult life. A bad month doesn't mean your future is bad. A failed relationship doesn't mean you'll never find love. A job you hate doesn't mean you'll hate every job. One mistake doesn't define you.
And there's another important thing we should talk about. You don't have to have your entire life figured out. A lot of people secretly feel behind. They think, by this age, I should have a better job. I should have more money. I should be married. I should own a house. I should know what I'm doing. But life doesn't follow one universal timeline. Some people find success at 20, some at 30, some at 40, some much later. Your journey doesn't become less valuable because someone else arrived somewhere before you.
So if you've been feeling exhausted lately, maybe don't immediately ask, how can I become more productive? Maybe ask, what can I remove from my life? What can you stop doing? What can you stop worrying about? What notifications can you turn off? What conversations are draining you? What expectations aren't even yours? What are you doing simply because everyone else is doing it?
We often judge our entire lives based on one difficult moment. But life is much bigger than today. Tomorrow can be different. Next month can be different. Next year can be completely different. That's one of the beautiful things about being human. We can change. We can learn. We can start again.
So tonight, before you go to sleep, try something. Put your phone down, take a deep breath, look around your room, and remind yourself, you made it through another day. Maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you didn't accomplish everything you wanted. That's okay. You are still here, and tomorrow is another opportunity.
Those questions can change everything. Because sometimes a better life isn't about adding more. It's about removing what doesn't belong.
Because life isn't one giant achievement. It's thousands of ordinary moments. A morning coffee, a random laugh with a friend, a late-night conversation, a walk outside, a meal with your family, a song you love, a quiet evening. These moments may seem small, but one day, you'll realize they were your life.
You don't have to solve your entire life tonight. You don't have to know exactly where you'll be 5 years from now. You don't have to become a completely different person overnight. Just take care of yourself today. Take the next step, then another. That's enough.
And don't compare your behind the scenes with somebody else's highlight reel.
So don't be so busy building the future that you forget to live today.
Don't rush your timeline.
Don't feel guilty for resting.
Maybe that's the real secret. Not doing more, not becoming more, but learning to appreciate what you already have.
And don't forget.
Thanks for spending these few minutes with us. And wherever you are right now, take a breath, slow down, and remember, you don't have to figure everything out today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, take care of yourself, and enjoy the little things.